Hello and welcome back to Public Works Radio. I'm your host, Bailey Dickman, and while we are still on a little bit of a mid-season vacation here at PWR, we wanted to keep the home fires warm, as it were, with some little bonus episodes over the summer. Every week, our production team has the sort of unfortunate task of trying to whittle down all of these really, really great conversations into a clean 30 minutes or less, and we end up with a lot of stuff on the cutting room floor. Side note, we are always looking for feedback here at Public Works Radio. If you have any thoughts or concerns about our format, please send us a message over at podcast@apwa.org. Today, we're going to go back to that cutting room floor and find some of the best social media tips for public works professionals, pulling from some conversations that you've already heard in the first half of Season 1, and some of which you haven't heard that got cut from previous episodes due to time constraints.
I'm Petra Beglarian. I am the Public Works Manager in the City of Glendale Public Works Department.
And I'm Oganesyan, the Community Outreach Associate for the City of Glendale Public Works Department.
When we first caught up with Petra and Ani, our friends in Glendale, they were absolutely giving us pure gold of all the fun ways they celebrate National Public Works Week. What you might not have known from that episode is that Petra and Ani and I ended up speaking for like an hour about social media and public works interacting on social media. We had so much great stuff that had to be cut from that episode. We just couldn't let it lie.
A lot of our guys aren't used to being behind the camera, right? Again, a lot of the work they do is in the background. For us, what's really helped is building those connections out in the field.
We'll revisit a lot from Petra and Ani, and we're also going to check in with our pal Shane Mark.
My name is Shane Mark. I'm the Assistant Director of Public Works in the town of Needham.
Shane met with us back in April to discuss winter preparation efforts and touched on some really important social media and communication strategies that I think are really worth hearing.
Our goal is really to be able to provide the data, provide the communication in such a way that is digestible and understandable to the public.
Finally, in this mid-season bonus episode, we revisit the delightful Staci Schafer, and we're talking goat grazing photo ops.
My name is Staci Schafer. My job title is Parks and Grounds Administrator for the City of Greenville, South Carolina.
Generating strong public relations and goodwill in your community shouldn't be overlooked, and Staci reminds us that social media is a really strong platform for doing just that. And while your department might not have lovable goats to film, there's definitely stuff that you're doing that might feel really routine to you that is really interesting to the public.
So many people come out and they actually had little goat watch parties. They would just come out with their camp chairs, park to sit and watch the goats, and it was amazing. City councils love a photo op, and that's always going to be a win-win too.
I hope you've been enjoying Public Works Radio, the official voice of the American Public Works Association, as much as I've enjoyed making it. As a little programming reminder, we're going to be back in July with another bonus episode, and then after that, we're kicking off in August with a really, really great end to our Season 1. Stay tuned. We're going to start off with Petra and Ani, who I simply asked, why do they do social media? Why is social media so important in public works? I think you're really going to like their answer.
You know, depending on what city you are and what your public works department does, we really do it all. But in most cases, we're often invisible and when things are working well. Really gives us that chance to tell our story, and it reminds our employees that their work has a purpose. And it reminds the community that there's a dedicated team behind the scenes that are working every single day to make sure that they have their quality of life.
And your guys' videos stand out to me because they're fun. Like, it's really... I don't know if it's hard to get public works folks to like buy into being silly on social media, but it is kind of difficult because public workers are by and large, humble people who just like to get their job done. How do you get the team to like buy into that? How do you get them to ease into being less serious on social media for a little bit?
Yeah, do you want to go?
I think it did take us some time. Our people a little hesitant when we first started our social media experience, but for us, what we like to do, we like to show them some examples, right? We get our inspiration from online, things that are trendy, things that are fun, and then we try to flip them so that they match what our department is. Yeah, what our department does. And so what we do is we like to show them what our examples are. Like, it's not that bad. You have to say one word, like, it's not that bad, like, let's just have fun here. And at the end of the day, we are trying to promote you and your work. This has nothing to do with us. This is all about you. And so I think gradually that story that we're telling and the the idea that we're trying to get across, we've been able to win them over with that.
I like to say that it's a lot of asking really nicely with a hint of persuasion. Because, a lot of our guys aren't used to being behind the camera, right? Again, a lot of the work they do is in the background. For us, what's really helped is building those connections out in the field. Petra and I are in a unique position with our roles where we are able to go out into the field and, step away from the office and go and see what job sites they're working on, what projects, how the projects are going, film them, doing a pothole repair, film them doing the hydro jetting in our city sewer mains. And when we go out there, we're not just, standing in a corner taking a video or taking a photo. We're having conversations with them. We're asking about their processes. We're checking in. We're learning, and through that, we build these great connections. And it's come full circle where now so some people actually will tell us, hey, when's the next video? Like, when are we gonna, they actually want to
Well, I was gonna get into that clip. I was in that video. Why aren't I in it?
Yeah, and from the beginning, I would say it was definitely harder to get it started in the beginning, but once that ball started rolling and people kind of saw the momentum and the attention, the positive attention it was getting from the community, from our department leaders, they kind of wanted to be a part of that movement as well. Once they kind of saw, hey, you know what, this is actually doing something. People are actually seeing the work that we're doing. We're getting more credit and recognition for it, of course, and they're doing the work that they should be getting recognition for. So I'd say it was harder in the beginning, but now we have more. We have some, some people who like to be the star of the show, as we call it. But we try to do a good job of also including everyone. If someone's been on camera before, we'll try to get a new face that hasn't. And some people are shy. We don't push it. If they say no and it's a hard no, but if some people, you can tell they just need a little bit of a nudge. They're shy. They've never done this before. We give them a script sometimes if needed. So I would say like our relationship has really helped us get those yeses, but it's taken years.
I will say for us, our director and our upper managers really give us the support that we need, not just for us to film, but for our staff as well to be in the clips. So they, them and their upper managers provide a lot of support for this. And, our employees don't do this work for attention. They don't do any of it to be in the spotlight. So when they do see themselves highlighted on our page, there's this quiet sense of pride that they have. And we build on that and we expand on that, and the buy-in just goes.
I would add to that management because, of course, sometimes we might need to do a few takes. They're on a job site, so things might get pushed back for a few minutes. But I'd say leadership definitely understands that there's a bigger picture to this. And although they might be taking a few minutes out to do this video, at the end of the day, this is gonna be published, and the public will see the work that they're doing, and those few minutes, they're okay with giving us. So
the community's needs shape our priorities, and then their support fuels our progress. So once they get an idea of really what we do and why our work is so important, we can get their buy-in to do some of the projects, some of the revamps that we have, some of the rebuilds. And I think that's really important.
Do you have like a white whale of a video that you want to get your guys to make at some point? Do you have like you would love to be able to do this, but you just can't figure out a way to work it?
we do have a funny one that we've been looking for a volunteer for. I don't know if you've seen it, where it's a roadwork sign that says shoulder work ahead, and the guy is like he's dancing.
They're doing the shoulder work.
Yeah.
You know what? We get a lot of inspiration from like other transportation, like I think more state or federal level that they have on Instagram. And we always try to get our guys to do some of these. The little dancing ones are a little hard for them to get onto. That's more, I think, TikTok versus Instagram. But they're up for quite a bit. The dancing is one that we're still trying to get them over that hump.
Yeah, I would say honestly, we do take our inspiration from other places as well, but not even just like local or state transportation. It could be like a private company, and if it's something that we can find a way to relate it to our department and our city. Of course, we always try to have some kind of educational aspect of it, but sometimes they are just fun, right? I know we were trying to do like maybe like a fun video and then more of an informative one, kind of balance it out so people, our viewers aren't, I don't want to say bored, but are engaged still with our content. And it's not just, hey, how do you do this? Where you call for this? It's,
I think that's the hard part about social media is that it is supposed to be fun, but we are trying to build in a educational and informative platform at the same time. So it's all about balance.
It is,
I think for us, we do like to put in some of the fun ones, and I think Public Works Week is a perfect time to do that. But we do try to frame things in a way where we're still trying to teach them things. Like I know one of our videos for, I think not last Public Works Week, but the week prior to that, the one prior to that, 2024.
Which video?
We were trying to do like the trendy video where it's like the beautiful things that I've done. And we had a sign.
Ah,
And so what we were trying to do was like we really want to do this. Like, how do we get this done, but also show residents like something that we do, like a program? And we decided to do our traffic management center. And I was standing 2 blocks down, or like a really long block down the road, and we got our traffic management or our traffic engineers to look through our traffic management center and focus the camera and zoom in all the way to us on the other side. So we're like, it's fun, but at the same time, we're showing them some of the things that we do, the capabilities that we have,
in
and
the
what.
traffic management center.
Yeah.
That one actually went viral. I think that was our most viewed video. It had about 115,000 views, I want to say. So people were, we were announcing it's Public Works Week almost, I believe. on that.
Almost.
But people like, oh wow, that's, look at the capability of our cameras, the fact that they could zoom in so much that I think people are really drawn to that. So again, that was like a fun, but like here's something you didn't know. That's a good balance.
I'm trying to think of what else we like want our staff to do, but haven't been able to get a hold of. We tried to do the Gen Z, the Gen Z script. Yeah, that one was a little harder to get. We're also not Gen Z, so trying to figure out what they were saying was hard for us. I don't think there's a lot of Gen Z people in our department. We tried to we did one citywide with our sustainability, not us, but one of our colleagues. And I thought it was so funny. So we tried to do it here.
That's actually a great example of those videos. They're very informative, and they're talking about, whether it's a public library or a program, but they're making it entertaining and
speaking the language.
Yeah, exactly. You're speaking the language of the people, some of the people that are on social media. So it's a good way to meet them in the middle. So
yeah.
That's always our balance of fun and informative. That's how, because we're, I'd say Petra and I are the cheerleaders of Public Works. We're very excited about this, but I understand that it might not be the most exciting thing for everyone else. So we have to make it exciting for them. So that should be our tagline, making Public Works fun.
Yeah.
You should get t-shirts.
Yeah. We always also get so excited when APWA shares our stories or reels. Like, oh my God, we made it.
Actually, yes, definitely. Last year, I was like, I went up to our director and I was like, look, Daniel, like they reshared our content. We're on the page. It's famous. Kind of like the parent company, right? So we get excited when
we're highlighting
like what we're posting.
Yeah.
It's the most fun part of my week.
The last thing I'll say is like when we were starting off this page, I remember that we looked at the data and we looked at all of our neighboring cities in Southern California to see how many cities actually have a dedicated Public Works page instead of just kind of running it along with their city main pages. And I think that's made a really big difference in distinguishing ourselves and being able to push out so much more content because it's just our department instead of a citywide thing. So I think that's helped us a lot with recognition.
But yeah, there aren't a lot of dedicated Public Works social media pages, and I think we do so much, it's very difficult to properly portray what Public Works does when you're not dedicating a full page to it.
Even when you are sometimes.
Even when you are.
We have 7 divisions, right? We plan out our content and where we want to make sure that everyone kind of gets a little bit of love and we're not only, promoting one versus the other. So it's, again, another balancing act for us. But
so note to self for anyone who wants to, succeed, create your own page. It's a lot of work.
Increase your visibility.
But it is so, so, so important.
Definitely worth it.
When it comes to general communications and social media, some of the best food for thought came to us from Shane in our winter preparations episode. How do you create your communication plan alongside your operational plan? Do you do preseason communications to help the public understand winter operations ahead of time? Or is the public memory too short? You'd have to start it during October, otherwise they'll forget it already. What's your plan?
Yeah, all of the above. We really kind of focus more in the fall just for the fact that what we found is no one's thinking about winter when it's warm out, especially as April, May roll around and it's beautiful weather. You're not thinking about snow. So we don't do a lot of communication about snow during spring, summer. We'll start to target that in the fall. And so we have a variety of ways we do it. We use, of course, Facebook, Instagram. We'd like to kind of branch more into the Instagram, TikTok side of the house and do some videos. We're not great at the video components, but we'll post on social media. And then we do have a community engagement manager here in the town. So typically what Amy will do is she will take our post and she'll retweet them or repost them on the town's webpage as well. So we'll do a couple different ways. We'll do it through our internal channels for DPW, but we'll also do it through our community engagement.
You guys have a lot of fronts that you communicate on, which is
We try.
See it.
Yeah, we try. I think we could get better. I'd like to get more aggressive and better because I think the more you can communicate and the more easily digestible this information is. It's kind of like before we started the podcast today, we were talking about the term inside baseball and whether or not people know that term. And so it's kind of holds true in winter maintenance as well. There's a lot of terminology that we use in winter maintenance or just in public works in general that those of us in the profession, we know all the terminology because we use it every day. But when we go out and we communicate to the public, we're using this terminology that we know, but the public may not know. So our goal is really to be able to provide the data, provide the communication in such a way that is digestible and understandable to the public. And I think what's great about this is seeing some of the generational workforce now, multi-generational workforce. We've got a lot of employees that are now coming into our public works department that are Gen Z and millennial, and so they really know this communication channels because they've grown up on TikTok, they've grown up through Instagram, and so they're great. So what we're really trying to do is find those employees that love that and allow them to help us get better at how we're communicating because they know how they digest the information. I don't know as a Gen Xer, but they do. And so using our employees to our advantage and allowing them to take it. For example, we have an admin who has a admin staff. Her name is Ava, and she's got a degree in marketing and communications. And so she's starting to take over some of our communications and marketing for our department, and she's phenomenal at it. So it's really cool to see that.
Yeah, a matter of meeting people where they're at, and they're at a lot of different places now.
Exactly.
Finally, let's check in with Staci, whose goat-focused interview was easily one of my favorites from the season. It also served as a reminder that there are things your department does that can naturally create great public relations opportunities. And of course, good public relations and community engagement, it all goes hand in hand, and it's all good for you. So don't be shy. What's been like a low-key benefit? Something that you didn't expect to be like a win, like an unexpected win when you started working with goats?
Honestly, it's probably the reaction of the public. So many people come out and they actually had little goat watch parties. They would just come out with their camp chairs, park and sit and watch the goats, and it was amazing. Everybody who knows me on social media knows that I love goats. I really want goats. I can't have goats, but I think baby goats in pajamas are probably the cutest thing on the whole planet. So for me, this is just a fantastic win. I do know for a fact, because we did have one escapee that staff had to chase down. I know for a fact they love Fig Newtons. So that's my little trick when I'm trying to get a goat to come over for the camera crew. The return of investment is there. And it's a win-win, for your social media crew, your marketing team, your communications team. They love it. City councils love a photo op, and that's always going to be a win-win too. And yeah, I think honestly, it's really hard to come out with any reason not to do it. I think it's definitely worth everybody just giving it a try. And I also recommend carrying Fig Newtons in your work truck. And we have lassos too, by the way, and little collars. in case they get out.
Thank you for listening to this bonus edition of Public Works Radio, the official voice of the American Public Works Association. We'll be back later this summer with more, so make sure to subscribe wherever you get your favorite podcast. Rate us, review us, and forward us along to a friend. And don't be shy dropping us a note over at podcast@apwa.org so we can hear your feedback directly. We'll catch you next time.